But no, Beth, York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory. Hello everybody and welcome to the CVRcade Solo Cup. Can you believe it? We're already in week 3. Week 1, week 2, they've gone by just like that, and now we are in week 3. The CVRcade Solo Cup are where the individuals of CVRcade flourish. We see the best of the individual brought out in the racing in the CVRcade racing. We've got 4 maps, 4 events on display today. We start with Aquavello, 8 laps. Then we go to Lakeview Corner. We go to Electric Fidget. Now that may be the most practiced map in a very long time from all our contestants today across zone E, K, L, and T. That will be fun to see how that race unfolds. And then we've got Dashed against the Rock. So 2 new maps making an appearance into the racing rotation today. It's going to be excellent to watch. Last week, it was Quinton Molyneux who won Zone E ahead of Homer Thompson with Aaron Starling in 3rd. All 3 riders remain. They return here as Quinton is doing some last-minute school essay work here as the deadline comes up after E. As you can see him on his iPad. We've got Quinton on broadcast. We've got Phil Lovett in the game. We've got Niels Heldens coming into the broadcast today. So get some Dutch on display. We've got Homer Thompson early in the morning in the US. He is ready to go. We've got Casey Shum, who's had his morning coffee prior to the racing. He makes his debut racing Sony. We've got Sebastian Kuhn, who makes it into the racing here as well. In the past, Sony has been a place where he's really come into his own. Will that be the case today? We've got 3R Badger, all the way from Ireland, also in the racing today. So you can see him just getting ready. We've got Aaron Starlin, who for the 2nd week in a row has gotten up in the early days of the morning here. He's getting ready. Same could be said for Timothy Tamont about getting up early, but it is 1 o'clock in Europe. 1 minute and 30 seconds to go before the first of the 4 races get underway. Let's hear from Homer Thompson, because last week Homer was 2nd. Homer, this week, will this be the week that we trade in the 2nd place for a 1st place?
This will be the week we trade in places, I'm pretty sure, but probably not for 1st place.
Have you had some training on Electric Fidget and Dashed against the Rocks?
A little bit. I did a little bit. I didn't have a whole lot of time after they were posted yesterday, but I played around on both of them a little bit.
And what did you think of Electric Fidget?
I think Electric Fidget's going to be pretty tough. Those corners are pretty tight.
They definitely are. Good luck, Homer. 40 seconds to go before the first race gets underway, the low skill event. We are racing for prize money again today. Winner takes home 30 bucks. 2nd place is 20. Then you got 15, then you got 10, you got 5. And that's across the highest scores in the Omnium. If you are getting ready and you're one of the hundreds racing with us on a physical replay, I wish you best of luck. Good luck keeping up with the racers. Have fun. If you're doing just the 1 race, that's great. But I encourage you to try and do all 4 races in the Omnium and see how your scores add up towards those who are doing it live in here. But in 4 seconds time, we're going to get underway. Possibly, actually, without a doubt, the most heavily contested Sony of the CVRcade Solo Cup Season 2 already, as we've got Niels Heldens, Aaron Starlin, Badger, everybody making it out of the gun here, but Phil Lovett could be the first rider to already be dropped off the back here. Phil has got to use his comeback kit super here to get back on, or maybe not. He uses his legs instead, and Phil Lovett, despite the somewhat sedated start by himself, does get back into the group, and with that, all 9 riders have made it into the front group here in the first race. We will be showing you the scoreboard in the top right corner here as the racing progresses. You will see the name and the high scoring they do bring. As I see Channel 1 has just joined us. Channel 1, you join us at a great time. You are watching CVRcade. This is, you know, Channel 1, you keep coming back here, you keep returning here. It must be something that fascinates you guys. And if you are a returning viewer of Channel 1, you've probably seen CVRcade before, but if you haven't, if you are one of the new people, new viewers coming in here, CVRcade is a physical esports free-to-play game. Combines the best of cycling with the best of gaming with a rather large prize purse. The prize purse for Season 2 of the CVRcade World Cup is $30,000. And today here, we're racing what's called the CVRcade Solo Cup. Riders like Aaron Starlin, Sebastian Kuhn, Badger, they are all racing on their own in here as an individual, trying to get the best possible results. We're trying to find who is the best individual, who's the best solo player on CVRcade, but that's just on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we've got the CVRcade Derny Cup, where we're watching pairs of two, one physical, one non-physical, ride together. And then on Saturdays, the premier event, the pinnacle of CVRcade, the CVRcade World Cup, where teams duke it out against each other in the largest prize purse of them all. But we're coming up to the finish line here. As you can see in the top right, only 500 meters remaining here. It's both Quinten and Casey spinning out the legs here on this first event of 4 today. In Zone E, the first zone of 4 we will be doing. 300 meters to go. Who's going to load it up first? Who's going to go? You can see Quinten starting to stand up. He doesn't want to go early, but there goes Casey. Casey is pretty much undefeated on low skill events. It's Casey, it's Timothy, it's Casey, still Casey on the front, but Niels Heldens with a late resurgence to the front. And I think it is Niels Heldens who takes the win ahead of Timothy Tamont, Casey Shum, and Sebastian Kuhn with Badger, Quinten, Homer, Phil, and Aaron across the line. That was simply a race of timing and of choosing the right moment to go, as we're going to see the instant replay one more time. So keep an eye on the top right gameplay screen here. That's the gameplay screen of Casey Shum, the rider you see underneath. Casey, recent time has been just almost impossible to beat in this low skill event, but in this one it may just have been the matter of the timing being slightly off for Casey here as we enter the sprint. 200 meters to go. You see him give it everything early and he hits the front, but as he hits the front, the giraffe disappears. Timothy comes through, he hits the front, and the rider who timed it perfectly was Niels Heldens coming on through. Niels, welcome into the broadcast as well. That's a great way to start the racing. Talk me through that final sprint.
Basically, was just sometimes with these races, it's a matter of luck, whether the time it right or not. And when I saw Casey go, I knew that because Casey has quite a sharp acceleration. I don't really have that. Might as well follow it through and see what happens. And luckily, it paid out, went well for me. So yeah, it was good fun.
Now, Lakeview Corner. I believe it's only been raced once before. What do you make of this track, or this map, sorry?
Corner surely is the right word to describe it. It's constantly left and right, which makes it more difficult to hold the draw, because with the physics in this game, you go through a corner, obviously you won't get the same draw as when you're in a straight line behind someone. So that makes that more difficult, and what I think will happen is, and what happened last time, is that you get a group up the road of probably 4 or 5 people that it gets to the finish, and you just get a sprint, and maybe get some carnage out of that near the end. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Now,
I think that's what will happen.
If you do get a group of 4 to 5 riders up there, who on the start line today do you see as your biggest threat in terms of the overall?
No, Sebastian, definitely. Seb was always quite strong, although he says he's dead. Quinten as well is usually pretty good at these races, and Case as well. They are my teammates, so I'd rather lose to a teammate than to someone who isn't. Sure, Badger, I'm curious to see what he can learn. Obviously, Timothy. I've been doing reasonably well lately, so see what happens.
I was kind of waiting you just to name down the entire list as you were going there, Nils, but congratulations winning the first event. Lakeview Corner coming up next. Let's hear from Timothy Tamont, who crossed the line in second in the last race. Timothy, Zone E, making your return here to the early day zone. How are the legs feeling, and what's the confidence level like coming into the zone?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, legs feel... they're not fully open yet, so we'll see how this one goes. Yeah, that last race was a bit of bad timing from me from like one lap out. I was at the front, so I quickly needed to head back to the back, and by then it was a little bit too late, so when I sprinted, I got to the front too early. Yeah, it's just a bit of bad timing. Great timing by Nils. I'm expecting some fireworks here, because normally Quinton, he normally contests these low skill races, the first one, but I have to watch the replay. But it looked like on stream he didn't really fully sprint there, so I'm expecting some carnage from Quinton here. So we'll see.
We will see. 2 minutes to go. Good luck, Timothy, in this one. We do have Casey Shum, who I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 in a row in the end of the low scale events that Casey would win. But Casey, what went wrong in that last race?
Nothing really went wrong. It just finally my luck ran out a little bit. I launched. Usually somebody launches before I did, so you can't really wait to see the launch. You just gotta kind of time it, and it was kind of the luck, and nobody went before me, so I got my nose in the front before it should have been. But I'll take that. That's good.
Now, asking you the same question as I asked Homer, because we've got 2 new maps making an appearance today in the racing, Fidget and Dashed Against the Rocks later. I did see for a while you had the best time on Electric Fidget on a keyboard or a controller. What do you make of those 2 new maps that are back-ending this Omnium?
Oh, I didn't know there were new maps. I don't even remember ever riding that one. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think everybody came to Zone E for easy points, and surprise.
I think everyone is thinking, what just happened compared to last week? But you know what? That's the joy of CVRcade, physical equalization. Anyone can race. Good luck, Casey. Good luck, Nils. Good luck, Timothy. Thanks for taking the time. I do see we have Craig Cool in the chat, who's found this for the first time, Craig. And welcome to CVRcade. If you are interested in this, make sure to click the follow button down below, or just click our little profile icon, because Channel 1 is like a never-ending, swing door. They've got many other streams, great streams here in Mixer that they've got to share some love with. But if you want to get off here in the swing door, you just have to click the icon down below. We're gonna have another 50 minutes of racing here, so if you want to see this to the end, then make sure you stick around when Channel 1 moves on. Click the profile down below. This is CVRcade. It's available free to play on PC and Xbox currently. You can ride physically, as in on your bike, moving your avatar by pressing down the power, or you can ride on a keyboard or an Xbox controller. That's something we see on Thursdays and Saturdays. Can highly encourage it. But here we go. Lakeview Corner, a 7-kilometer-an-hour wind in this one. It's a cross tailwind from the start here, and we'll see. Timothy Tamont saying he expects great things from Quinton Molinez in this race. Now, is that mind games? Is that trying to apply some pressure on his competitor? Or is that something he actually thinks will happen? Phil Lovett has gone down. Not the best start for him, but Sebastian Kuhn here applying the pressure. Last time we were on Lakeview Corner, I did have the pleasure of taking the win on that one, as it was a heavily contested finale with Jennifer Garcia, Tim Fulford, Ben Shuilong, Timothy Tamont was up there, Quinton, Tim Fulford, and I. It's a great track. It's a great map out there on course where every corner you just got to be aware of your position. You've got to fight to take the inside line, and as there is a 1 uncrashable, 1 power plant available, you've got to use those supers at the right time. But 4 laps of Lakeview Corner, and Sebastian here, he's being boxed in. This is all about positioning. You want to try and take the short route through the corner, or be in the draft. Those are the 2 philosophies that we've seen used on this map in the past, And which category do you fall into? We'll just have to wait and see as Timothy Tamont here moves on up on the left side. But what we're seeing is the wind is having an impact, because the wind here is 7 kilometers an hour, and on the returning part of the track here, of the map, you do get that headwind. So what are you going to do? We're seeing at the back of the pack here, we've got Badger, we've got Aaron. They're sitting in, they're getting a bunch of draft here, about 35-40% drafting here, depending on where they are out on course. All together, still here, one big happy family, but we're awaiting one rider to attack here, so we can see. We got the final cry in the chat. We've got Death Sith X saying can't find in store on Xbox. Go to CVRcade, CVRcade. That is the game. If you search for it, you should see closed beta, I believe. Craig says I'm going to download when I make it to my Xbox. Thanks for letting me know about the game. Both Craig and Death Size, make sure to click follow here, because we're going to be live later today with much more racing. So if you do want to see more of it, you can stick around. But now the pace is being increased. Quentin, Nils, Casey, all three on the front here, with Homer Thompson moving up on the left side as well, as a tiny bit of sweat is being dried off the forehead of a Badger out on course. Aaron Starlin now, 173. We'll look at the equalized heart rates. Badger is currently the lowest, with Quinton Molyneux, with Quinton attacking. Quinton seizes opportunity, and this is what Timothy Tamont was talking about. He's gone on to the attack, and the only rider to match it is Timothy Tamont here, but he hasn't quite gotten on to terms with him yet, and this is into a straight headwind, I believe, if the wind is to be believed here, as they move around. You can see Timothy's Badger has gone down. Badger has overlapped the wheels and has gone down, and for him now, he's going to have to fight to get back on here as two riders make up the front here. But do they work together? These are two riders that we've seen several times in the last week or two go head to head, and now they find themselves in the same situation again. Casey Shum is trying to get back on terms as Timothy 190 hits the front. This race is a 1.5 times scoring multiplier, meaning that it's not too much, because we've got 2.5s coming up after this on Electric Fidget and Dashed Against the Rocks. So you do have 2 more technical maps coming up after this, but Casey Shum getting on back. Niels is there. Sebastian Kuhn is not there quite yet. We're halfway through the racing. 2 laps remain here as we're down in the chasing group. Sebastian. Homer goes down as well. Homer has overlapped the wheels with Aaron Starr, and Homer Thompson here has fallen down, and he needs to fight to get back on. Ethan Bot 245 says, can I play? The answer is most definitely yes. You can play on PC, you can play on Xbox, both free to play. And if you want to do so, all you got to do is go download it off the website if you're on PC, or go to the Xbox store and download it in closed beta there. If you want to ride with your legs, you can do so. If you want to play on a controller, you can do so as well. 2 kilometers remain here as Sebastian is further down. Niels is in here. We do have the opportunity to chat with the riders, but with only 2 kilometers remaining here, I believe we'll let the riders race this one out, because you've got to be attentive. You've got to be awake to any possible attacks here, because any moment somebody can go, because every corner has a certain corner speed, and this is going to be intense. It's a 1.5 times scoring multiplier. How much energy are you willing to exert in order to get the 45 points at the top of this race? We'll see now as we're coming towards the final 1.5 kilometers here. As I see, we've also got Glenn in the chat. Pleasure to have you in here, Glenn. But now Sebastian, Timothy. Quinton has already tried once, but it looked like it was more of a half attack. It was more of a shimmy. You were just trying to see if anyone was antsy, was going to jump, and then he was going to jump over the top if anyone went with him. We're back here on the side-by-side. Timothy Tamont the sole rider in here with Quintin Molyneux, also the individual. How will they play? Wim says, no, Jesper, if you want to play on Xbox, you have to go to this. As Casey goes, Uncrashable Power Plant, Channel 1, you've got to stick around. I see Channel 1 is moving out, but if you want to see the conclusion to this Omnium, which there's another 45 minutes of action-packed CVRcade racing, you've got to click the profile icon down below here. Otherwise, Channel 1 is moving on to the next streamer. You've got to stick around because we're racing for $30 in here. Somebody will walk away with cold hard cash, and right now Casey Shum is in the driving seat. He's used his Uncrashable Super. He's got the advantage. Will anyone close it down? Quintin in second, Sebastian in third, Timothy in fourth, but it is still Casey Shum at 194 with a 3-second gap here. He goes on again. He tries to accelerate. It looks like Casey Shum now out of sight, out of mind. Everybody fighting it out for secondary positions currently. I do see 37 people from Channel 1 are stuck around. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Give us a quick hello in the chat here as we're going to see the finish line coming up here. Glenn says, stay on the wheel. Quintin goes, power plant. He's got Uncrashable as well. 1,000 equalized watts. He's fighting to get back on terms, but it looks like Casey Shum has timed his attack to perfection here, using his Uncrashable Super early. He's got a 5-second lead. He's got one left-hand turn, and I think he will take the win on that one. But how much energy has he spent down in the secondary positions? It is incredibly close as we come to the finish line. It'll be Quintin, it'll be Timothy, it'll be Sebastian, then Nils and Aaron with a very respectable 6th place here on Lakeview Corner. Doesn't even look... He looks like he could go again here as we get Batcho crossing the line in 7th. Despite having his one crash, he can be happy with that performance. These are some of the best riders on the platform, and there's still over half the points remaining. Many more points are up for grabs here as we've got Electric Fidget and Dashed Against the Rocks up next. That was a great race. It was very intense all the way through. Let's see the instant replay once more. I see Death Scythe with the GG in the chat. We've got Indica Scout saying midlife crisis cup. You know, Indica, if like last season Quintin Molyneux won just short of $6,000. If that's a midlife crisis cup, I'm going to have a midlife crisis in my 20s. Like, I'm going to have a midlife crisis in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. I mean, if it can pay for all the bills, I'm glad to be considering myself having a midlife crisis. DJ Warren says, well, I need one of those. Well, if you want to get on, you can do so, Warren. It's free to play. All you got to do is go to the website, CVRcade.com. But it was a well-timed super combination from Casey Shum that saw him get away, sustain his lead, while everybody else were looking at each other. And now, with an 8-point gap, it's Casey Shum in the lead as we head to Electric Fidget. Casey, we're watching the finishing straight here again from you. Talk me through that race, because it looked like it was very back and forth in terms of the strategies. How come you chose that was the moment to go?
Kind of catch them off guard. Some of those guys can sprint better than me, so that course is really technical. If I could kind of pull a gap and maximize the corner speeds on the faster section, they can't really close the gap after that because they got to slow down for every corner. So you kind of got one shot at about a pair of corners with that Uncrashable, and then all you can do is accelerate and then slam on the brakes for the corner. So I knew if I could get a gap, if they kind of got lazy with the gap, I knew I could kind of hold it. That hurt a little more than I thought it would, though. Maybe wait a couple more corners to go, but then it's on the headwind, so I'm not going to second guess it. It worked. It was a good gap at the end, so it hurt, though.
Well, it was brilliant racing, Casey. I'll let you catch your breath as we've got Electric Fidget coming up next. I want to go down and chat to a few we haven't really spoken to yet. Quintin is down in 4th. He has won the last 2 weeks of Sony. But Quintin, you're in a tiny bit of a deficit here. 12 points down. Or this is the moment you start to panic? Or is this all according to plan?
No, there's definitely no panic involved right now. Everything feels good. I had to shake up my legs a little bit. That's why I went on the attack early on. just to open up the legs a little bit. So now they're open, and now I can try and hammer this one and hope I keep the rubber side down.
That will be a very difficult task considering how the corners are set up on this map. But Quentin, Electric Fidget, I wish you good luck keeping the rubber side down. Sebastian is currently in 5th. He was a rider that Nils mentioned is somebody to watch in here. Seb, so far 52.5, 2 races down. We've got 2 races left. Is this where Sebastian Kuhn comes into his own?
Nils was wrong. I rode this new track with the controller more than 10 laps, and there was no lap I did not crash. So this is horrible, this track.
It's only 3 laps, Seb. It's only about 20 minutes of racing on this map. I'm sure you can handle it. Seb, I'll let you prepare mentally for it. We've also got Badger, who's down in 6th. He had that unfortunate crash in the last race. Badger, bouncing back, what do you make of Electric Fidget?
Electric Fidget is awfully colorful, that's for sure, and it's lots of turns. In terms of the last one, though, I didn't overlap wheels. I actually was too fast around a corner. I didn't realize 48K could take you down around that corner, so that was a bit of a surprise for me, and then once you lose the draft, you're in a bit of trouble. But I'm just looking at Electric Fidget for the first time, so I can guarantee you significant crashes from the Badger.
Make sure to keep going slow in some of these corners because they are significantly tight in this one. Good luck, Badger. Final word before we race because there's a minute and a half until we go. Aaron with a very impressive finishing in the last race. Aaron, the fitness coming through, all the preparation. I feel like today could be the day that Aaron, Starboy flies high.
I don't know. Today we're just trying to finish every single race. I didn't sprint on the first one, so I'd have a little more on the second one, but I haven't ridden this track, and it's a long one, so I'm hoping that the slow corners help me out so I don't have to go too hard.
Well, if it's any concern, if it's any help with the executive producer was saying, I think Aaron is going to win Electric Fidget. It's like Barnyard Velo, just extremely long. So you've got somebody's confidence here in the building. Good luck, Aaron. Possible favorite on Electric Fidget. We'll see how it goes. This is Aaron Starling very early in the morning. We're racing here today. I see in the chat we've got Grabbles, we've got Crucial Bowl, we've got Scott HX 1888. I hope that's not the year you were born, but if it is, I salute you. I hope you guys are enjoying it. You're watching CVRcade. Physical esports. These people today are riding their bikes physically in their homes, which is then being transmitted to this free-to-play game, and they are racing for money. It has realistic cycling physics added in with the elements of Super Mario Kart, with supers, with turning, with skills, with drafting, with the wind. Everything in here is amped on up. And speaking of being amped up, are you ready for 3 laps of Electric Fidget? If you are racing with us again on a physical replay, I will give you the recommendation, the advice, go slow in order to go fast. The first half of this map lulls you into a false sense of security that it's not that technical, but when you get in to the hairpins of the second section of Electric Fidget, that is when it gets increasingly more difficult. But stay with the rest and you've got a chance. But already out of the gate here, Homer Thompson looks like he might be in a bit of trouble as he is staying with the bot patrol. Maybe riding a negative split. We're seeing the same here from Badger. His first time on Electric Fidget. Maybe just taking in the scenery here as he rides on through the bot patrol. Catching up here to Quentin. He is putting in a bit of an effort here to try and close down the gap and get on the draft. You heard from Quentin. Quentin said this is the one he's been saving his energy. He's going to try and give it a bit here on this one. We will see as the first corner is coming up. Timothy slides on out. Phil goes down. Aaron goes down. Badger goes down. And you can tell those that have practiced the map and those that are seeing it for the first time, they would know. Glenn says, what is the corner speed on those hairpins? That honestly varies so much depending on which hairpin you are discussing. There are some that are like 20, there are these that are like 37, there's some that are 19, if not less. I mean, it honestly, all I can recommend is going in on a controller and just ride a few laps. Ride a few laps of the map and get your own sensations of how the map is played. But Timothy Tamont here, 2 seconds up the road from Timothy, and right now it is cornering that sets him apart from the rest, and it puts him 2.5 points ahead of Casey Shump. But this map is deceptively hard also physically, because there are several inclines up to 6-7% out on the map, one of which Timothy is on right now. I think this is about 5%, and you can see as Nils goes down, Sebastian goes down, Phil goes down again. Right now, Casey and Timothy, two of the only ones not to go down. Quinton also added into that mix. But now we're getting into the most technical aspect of the map. The tight spiral here. As we look from above, they pass the turning obelisk. As Timothy goes left, he goes right. He trusts the slide through the corners here. And so does Casey. This is going to be interesting because Casey might have the physical advantage over Timothy in terms of a long race, but Timothy here definitely knowing his corner speed. This is going to be a good showdown, and do not discount anyone that has crashed, because the further we get into the racing, as Phil goes down again, the further we get into the racing, the more tired the legs get, the more tired the mind gets, and the more likely you are to make a mistake. And we have a regroupment on the front here as we hit another incline on the track. I see Crucial Ball says, take care. See you later, Crucial. I hope you're back tonight. As Sebastian goes down again. Oh, we need to get a live reaction here from Seb. Seb, 2 or 3 crashes already. How are you feeling?
Only 2.
Well, make sure you brake before this corner again coming up next, Seb. Seb, everybody saying only 2. As he's fighting on through. Ahead of him is Niels Heldens up in 4th. You got Quinton, who will also be making it back. I think we're going to see a 3-rider front group here. Maybe Niels can get back on. It looks like he's figuring out the corner speeds, figuring out the rhythm of the track. But it's very unlike anything else out there. And I'm anticipating that those Racing Zone KL later tonight, the Carl Axel Sander, Jeff Rooney, Vibeke Bertram, Luis Soberanese riding T, Daniel LeBlanc, all the rest of you, I'm anticipating John Pyle watching this here, trying to get a feel for the map Electric Fidget. Because as many mentioned in their pre-race interview, it is just simply so different from anything we've raced before. And this part, this is the toughest section incline-wise. So Sebastian makes it 3, I think, and he can't believe it. Tunnel vision, looking around. Sep fighting back on. Homer goes down as well. But like, this is the thing, though. It's a 2.5 scoring multiplier. But then we go dashed against the rocks. So it's important to keep a positive mental attitude here in the racing, because there's a next race after this where it could all flip on its head. Dashed against the rocks, a more traditional map, a map not as colorful, not as futuristic. We'll see how it unfolds, because on the front, the 3 riders have gained the front group together here. Casey, Timothy, and Quinton. There's no wind. There are 3 supers available. Underdog, which you've seen Sebastian use, Greater Responsibility, and Inertia. Now, Underdog gives you 50 extra equalized watts for every rider ahead of you out on course for 10 seconds. Greater Responsibility gives you great power, as Casey's trying to force a mistake there, and Timothy gets a bit lucky with the bumping. Timothy with the thumbs up, but at least Casey was trying to cause a crash, and it almost happened, but the speed differential wasn't high enough. Greater Responsibility does give you a significant boost for 5 seconds, I believe, and Inertia holds your speed at whatever speed you're pressing it at for 10 seconds. It can be a great super, it can be a poor super, depending on how you utilize it. And Sebastian again goes on down in 5th place here. He's with Homer, he's with Badger. Do we dare? Do we dare? Sep, I think that's now 4 or 5. What are we guessing at the end of this race? What are we looking at?
12. 3 laps. 4
Yes.
crashes makes 12.
There you got it. Not Jesper math, but Sebastian math. Let's see how accurate that's going to be. But while that was happening, Casey utilized his inertia at 67 kilometers an hour, and he's gone on to the attack here. He wants to get rid of the dead weight behind him here as Quinten comes flying in, and he risked it for a biscuit there. Not sure what he was thinking, as you could see the speed differential between the two of them was significantly higher, and Quinten slammed on the brakes. We get the instant replay. Look on the left side. Quinten tries to brake. I think Quinten does get to an acceptable corner speed. I think it's just that he slams on the brakes too late. And as that happens, just like in real life, if you slam on the brakes, then you will find yourself locking up your wheels and crashing on out. Everybody is kind of in ones and ones and ones, but somebody we haven't really seen crash yet is Aaron Starlin. Aaron, how's your experience been so far?
Well, I wrecked in the very first corner, but I've been just keeping it easy. I just want to finish this, be ready for the next race, and just see how it goes. Just trying to have fun. Got a basketball game to go to tonight that my friends invited me to, so it's a good day. Great way to start.
I was gonna say, what better way could you possibly spend it but with CVRcade and a basketball? Now, no clue how good the Portland Trailblazers are these days, but can't imagine. You see the shake of the head as well from Aaron, but nonetheless, professional sports is always fun. Phil with another crash going down. Let's do see we still got 17 people sticking around from channel 1 of them Death Scythe X. Now if you are enjoying it, if you are honestly interested in getting involved, I urge you to do so and act on it today, because tomorrow you might forget. The day after tomorrow you may have already totally phased that out of your mind, because this can be the greatest gift you'll ever give to yourself. You can get fit, you can win prize money, and you can have fun all at the same time. And it's free! I mean, what else do you really want from a game in your life? So if you are interested, I do encourage to 1, follow the page. That way you always get notified when we go live. 2, you should probably think about going to Facebook. You know, I've said it before, it's like the Jurassic Park of the social media channels, so where you go to see dinosaurs. But that is a great place to organize your thoughts and the community's discussions. So if you go to Facebook and you search CVRcade Riders, there's a Facebook group in there where you can chat. As Glenn says, did Timo just crash? Did Quinten put in a lot of effort? I am not entirely sure. As we see Badger, we see Phil having a bit of a roller derby battle further down, coming through the corner and sliding on out. So if you do exceed the corner speeds, you do crash, as that happened again to Sebastian Kuhn. And you get Niels Heldens. Niels slowly making his way back here in 4th. And you just got to keep being sensible. Right now, Casey is riding away on the front, but he has used his supers, and he's digging deep here. He is committing to this move here. But next race up is Dashed Against the Rocks with a scoring multiplier of 2.5. It is really high, and anything can happen on the 4th race of the day. As Death says, $376. Well, it really depends, Death. If you've already got the bike, like all these things compared to the industry are very low price points. So you can get on, once you're on, it's a one-time purchase. The game is free to play. Wim says, does Sebastian get bonus points if he makes it to 12 crashes? We can give him +0 bonus points. How about that? He can get +0 bonus points. That way we've given him some bonus points for correctly guessing his amount of crashes that he will endure. Most of them, if not all of them, are definitely ways he could have solved by perhaps practicing more or keeping his composure. But it's Casey on the front here who looks relatively fatigued currently out on the map. He's a 187, 15 seconds is the gap down to Timothy and Quinten. And Quinten and Timothy, again, these two, neck and neck. They used to be teammates. Now they are no longer, and they have just given us some of the greatest battles in a recent CVRcade racing memory, and we're on pace for another one, as next time Casey crosses the finish line, which is just in a second, as Timothy goes down, he slides through the corner, and we get a cheeky smile from Quentin Molineux. So we've got that on the replay. It would be good to show us Quentin with an underdog. Here's the replay. Timothy slides on through, and you can see Quentin allowing himself to smile, knowing that that is probably his biggest competitor out of the way here. So let's see what's going to happen. And Glenn, at death, as Glenn says it, you make it back by racing. The prize purse is $30,000. The winner of the CVRcade Solo Cup Grand Finale wins $3,000. Timothy, I don't have the exact figure, but I think he's won like $3,000, $4,000 or something like that in his racing history on CVRcade. And so he's definitely made it all back as he uses greater responsibility super than inertia. I think Quentin's going to attempt a block. I think Quentin here is going to attempt it. No, he doesn't even try it here. So Quentin Molineux not with the attempt to block on Timothy, and he comes over the top. But as we show the scoreboard, as Timothy's got to be careful he doesn't overcook this corner, comes down to 22 k's an hour. Oh, and then Quentin goes down in the exact same corner. Electric Fidget may have just named itself the Molineux corner. It's been a while. We had the Castrop corner, we've got the Garcia corner, and we may just have the Q Crash corner. As Sebastian also with his greater responsibility and inertia at 63 here. He's got Niels Heldens in his sight. We're on the final lap of Electric Fidget. Currently, Casey Shum is leading by 18 points down to Timothy. Timothy is 12 points ahead of Quentin. Quentin 2 points ahead of Niels. But that is before any bonus points are being added in. Casey looking to get 20 bonus points. Timothy to get 10. Quentin to get 20. Niels 10. Sebastian 10. Badger 10. Homer 10. Aaron might get 20, I do believe. This Badger goes down once more out on course. He's down in 9th place. He's on his final lap of racing as well. He's going to fight it on through. If you are in a physical replay and you found yourself crashing, don't worry, you are not the only one, as the majority of the front riders have all had at least 1, 2, if not 3 crashes, or if you're Sebastian Kuhn, 12. As Niels with his inertia, but inertia at 52 wasn't the highest it could have been out on course, but we see now with 1.5 kilometers remaining, he is pushing it on through. He slows down. He's a 192. He is being pressured here by Sebastian Kuhn. The gap is 12 seconds, and there's some significant points on display here because they're being separated by 11 points on the scoreboard. And coming into the final race, this all does matter if you want to win some money on the day. Casey looks set. Quentin is breaking down. Niels is breaking. Homer with a greater responsibility as well, as he now tries to get back on terms with the front group. He uses his great responsibility, chooses not to pair it with an inertia, and he pushes on through here now. So the last kilometer is beckoning, and the first time being raced in the CVRcade Solo Cup history. Looks like Electric Fidget will go to Casey Shum as he timed his attack brilliantly, come over the top. I'm not sure we've seen a single crash from Casey. He shakes his head, he goes no, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference here. Going slow in order to go quick. Casey Shum putting on a clinic when it comes to showcasing how technical tracks, technical maps for the first times should be raced. He's got the last kilometer here. I think for him now it's about making sure he wins the race, but also trying to bring down the heart rate, bring it down, because just as this race finishes, you've got 5 more minutes. And then we go again on Dashed Against the Rocks. 3 laps, the final race. As Aaron has caught up to Badger, he's now got Phil in his side. And this might be Aaron Starlin's return through the rankings. He could find himself getting into the top 5 here and taking home $5. Last week, I believe he took home $15. Which was enough for a quick trip to Chick-fil-A. We'll see what $5 could bring him this week, but he's got to make it in to the top 5 first, as Niels is keeping Sebastian behind him, Quentin ahead of him. This has just really been an individual pursuit effort by every rider. Make sure you minimize the amount of mistakes you make while optimizing your lane decisions, your corner speeds. This map has so many technical corners. And I believe someone clever once said that the map's technicality is determined on how many corners it does have, because that's where every decision is made, every skill is on display. As we see Sebastian go down, we see Phil go down again. But on 200 meters to go, Casey Shum is going to turn around the corner here, and he will see the finish line coming on up. And then he's won Lakeview Corner from a brilliant attack. Then he's won Electric Fidget with another brilliant attack. Will it be more of the same on Dashed Against the Rocks? You'll just have to stick around to see, because right now, for the secondary spot here, Quinton and Timothy, they're going at it. There's only 5 seconds between them. Timothy will come to the finish line, and he will cross it next as he finishes in second. We get the Timothy Tamont applause. He finds himself second overall, as the next race starts in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's how long the riders do have to finish this event. Looks like Phil has got another 2 minutes left. I think Badger might have a 2 minutes left. Aaron might also have 2 minutes left. But Niels Heldens out of the Netherlands here, taking a very impressive fourth on a very technical and demanding map called Electric Fidget. Seb, I think I have not seen 12 crashes. I think I only saw 8 or 9. Is that the case?
After 2 or 3 more laps, I only crashed 6 times.
Easy.
Personal record.
Personal record 6 times. I mean, if you come back later today, I'm expecting less than 6 crashes, Seb.
Maybe I can make 5.
Oh, maybe 4 on a good day. But Sebastian Kuhn, everybody, next across the line. Homer Thompson, usually by day his teammate, today in the Solo Cup, a competitor. As Quentin says, that corner is gonna mess with me, and that's why. Well, I need. Quentin's name is not as silly. It's not as rhythmic as Garcia Corner or Castro Corner. Quentin Corner could work because it's a bang bang sound. Molinez Corner doesn't really roll off the tongue, but Quinton Corner, if the chat decides that's a good name, otherwise Glenn, Cade Mott, Death Scythe, if you have a better name suggestion for that corner, do hit me up with it. But for now, I think Quinton Corner might be the winner as we catch the highlights of the racing. Aaron will finish next after Homer, then Badger. Let's load up the instant replays as we get ready for Dashed Against the Rocks, the final race of Zone E. We've got more racing later today. In 5 hours time, we'll be back live streaming Zones K and L, which will be back-to-back zones. New faces, maybe some of the same faces. Again, they'll be racing for money, and they'll be gathering points, and they will be trying to get the best possible seeding going into the CVRcade Solo Cup Grand Finale, which takes place 5 weeks from now. We're almost at the halfway point in the regular season racing here before we go to the grand finale. It's coming up quick. The racing has been fantastic. Let's see how this one ends, as Casey is leading, Timothy second, Quentin, Nils, and Sebastian. But Casey, as we watch the highlights, not a single crash. What are you more proud of, not crashing a single time or winning that race?
Probably the not wrecking, actually. The win just happened because they didn't wreck. Once we get used to that track, I probably wouldn't deploy that tactic, but I wanted to be clear and everything out of my head other than riding the track. So I figured if I got out front and just rode the track, the only way they beat me behind me is they outrode me and used the power-ups better. And in the end, I think it got them kind of working against one another a little bit, and they made mistakes. And had they not made mistakes based on the time gaps at the finish, it'd have been a dead heat sprint probably, or they may even have beat me. So, but yeah, I wanted to get out there and just focus. The way that track works, it's a lot of just short efforts, not really resting, but there's built-in recovery, I guess, or, you know, easy spots. So you just got to focus on going hard when you gotta go hard.
Tricks to the map with Casey Shum. Hopefully that becomes a regular here on the show. But Casey leading it. Good luck here in Dashed Against the Rocks. Timothy, Tamon, and Quinton sit in second. Timothy, second place here. Dashed Against the Rocks up next. You confident in your ability to overcome Casey Shum today?
Yeah, that's going to be hard because I'm down 10 points, even more with the not matching jersey. But yeah, we'll see how we do here. Maybe if Casey has an off race here, there's a possibility. But yeah, he rode the last one perfectly. So yeah, I think I should be happy with second here, all things considered, because Quinton's only 2 points behind me. So I just got to beat Quinton here to keep second, I think. Yeah, what Casey said, I was thinking about the same thing, like going a lap earlier with the power-ups, but then he did it, and I was like, okay, I'll just keep it steady, because his gap wasn't really growing after his power-up went out, so I was like, okay, if I could keep steady, I'll use mine, I'm straight back next lap for the finale, but yeah, the pressure from Quinton behind, he crashed, used his power-ups to get back to me. And then yeah, I wrecked. I had to use mine, but yeah. I'm sorry, it's early for me.
We've got 1 minute. Let's quickly get a word from Quinton as Quinton Corner or Q Corner has been named. Quinton, that corner though, what was it?
It was the speed differential that caught me out. I knew what the max speed was, but I just didn't have any experience coming into it with race pace. So I braked way too late every time.
Well, now you know, Q, and you got one more race coming up. 30 seconds, I'll let you get ready. Thanks for taking the time here. You can see the scoreboard on the right, everybody. Casey, Timothy, Quinton, Nils, Sepp, Homer, Badger, Aaron, Phil make up the scoreboard as it stands. It is incredibly close at the top, but it's also incredibly close for the secondary positions. Homer, Badger, Aaron, all within 1.3 points of each other. So it is give it your all here on the final race. 3 laps of Dashed Against the Rocks. First time it's being raced here in official racing capacity. Who will remain the champion? Who will reign supreme? We'll just have to watch and see. I'm so glad everybody stuck around from the Channel 1 visit. I hope you've got your favorites. Hope you got your fans here. As with this current setup here, Casey and Timothy are tied, but Casey does get 10 extra bonus points over Timothy from having a matching kit in real life with the game. So you've got to keep that into consideration here, which makes Casey significantly difficult to beat for the win, but it's all up for grabs. Secondary positions as well. If we can keep the scoreboard open here for the last lap here, the last race, because look at second through 5th. That is how close it currently is. 178, 176, 175, 161 before any bonus points are being applied. And that's because Sebastian Kuhn, he is a mountain biker by day and now a mountain biker by night, as his son has taken his road bike. But nonetheless, we won't get to that as Sebastian is pushing on through on Dashed Against the Rocks. It is a quick jump on up, then it's a technical descent, and we go back down to the beach. Phil Lovett in here with a fantastic start to the race in 3rd place. Can this be the race where Phil the Machine comes through and takes a win? He attacks. He feels good. You can see he's got the legs. He didn't have the best 1st through 3rd race. Can Phil Lovett overcome it and take his first race? Ed Laverick took a great win in the CVRcade World Cup on Saturday. Tam Burns has taken a great win before. Will it be Phil Lovett's time? Phil! No, Phil! He slides on through, exceeds the corner speed, but so does Quinton. Quinton Molyneux, the rider who has been invincible lately in the CVRcade Solo Cup, winning, I think, $60 in week 1, winning $70 in week 2, and now Quinton is in 5th place on the scoreboard. What a turn of events of the Season 1 CVRcade Grand Finale World Champion. And now, well, he also won $6,000 with that, or roughly that. But now, will he be able to recover from this physically and mentally, going from the top to the down? We will see. you got Death's side. Read Glenn's comments in the chat. I may have been incorrect earlier. You've got to go to our website and you can find it. You can play on Xbox by becoming a closed beta tester, and you can play using your controller, and you can make sometimes these physical riders hurt. Nils takes to the front here, and Nils will get the same amount of bonus points as Timothy, so they've got to fight it on through mano a mano, and Nils needs to win this race in order to move on up, as that is a 10-point swing, which would be enough for him to get second place. So we're on the gradients here. It's about 5-6% here as he moves to the inside. He dashes away from the rock there, so we can see. Def says, are there laps or marathon or both? There are laps, there are marathons. CVRcade is totally configurable. You can play it however you want. You can create your own events, you can play with people, with bots, you can do lap times, you can do exactly as you please. It is all up to you. Currently, Sebastian Kuhn is sitting fourth in the overall here, and he needs one more point to pass Nils Heldens. He needs to hope that Timothy Tamont gets on his horse and rides, or Casey Shum gets on his horse and rides to the top here. As we're coming to the end of Sep. Oh, you can't believe it. Let's bring that up on the replay. I think he turns to the right. I think he presses the keyboard. I think his arrow clicks it to the right here, because he's safe, he's safe, he's safe. I think he clicks to the right here, and he hits the rock, because when he gets back up, he continues going forward. As Phil found his new favorite map. I mean, this is dashed against the rocks, and Phil is like a rocket out there. Phil the rocket is coming on through, as we got Quentin coming back, Casey's up there, but with Sebastian crashing, he still looks comfortable. Now the question for Quentin becomes, how do you play this race? Because you're most likely going to do K&L later today. So are you going to exert energy to come on through? Same thing for Casey here. Casey's got to make sure that he retains his lead at the top. But how much does he realistically want to take away from this? But if he also passes Timothy, who uses both his supers here, Underdog, Razor's Edge, and Nils gets the block! Nils Heldens executes the block. Bring that up on the replay one more time here, just to see it come through. Timothy, both supers. He's going at 57 kilometers an hour, 58, down to 40. 18 kilometers an hour lost in an instant, just like that. And Nils still has his supers. But despite crashing, the man of the hour on the Dashed Against the Rocks map is still Sebastian Kuhn. He crashed once. He's still on the front here. As Timothy passes Nils, Nils comes on back. This has got severe implications on the overalls. Timothy again moves on up. These two side by side are pushing it as they're 195, 194, Casey at 187. We're in the last 800 meters of the fourth race, the final race of Dashed Against the Rocks. Sebastian looks poised to take second place. Casey currently leading by 5 points, but it will be enough preliminary to take the overall when bonus points are applied. But Sebastian Kuhn comes through. Casey Shum here with a racer's edge. He may be tempted to try and catch up. Does he let... Well, he's got Quentin down there. Quentin can't really move up either by taking more points here. It'd be a 5-point difference. He would still be behind, but Sebastian once more... He needs to be so thankful that he has been riding this map perfectly and has gathered enough of a lead. As Nils with corner caper rides into the rock, he goes down and he goes to fourth, to fifth, and like that, he is all the way out. Casey comes through Timothy. Will that change anything? Not necessarily. Sebastian Kuhn with corner caper will be on the pier for the final time. He will see the umbrellas, and despite crashing twice, he will come across the line, taking the victory. Timothy with corner caper in second, ahead of Casey Shum as he finishes second. Casey wins the overall. Nils will come back into fourth as Quentin Molyneux stacked it as well. Dashed Against the Rocks, and you can see Nils not happy with himself as Homer comes by Quentin. Does that change anything? No, Quentin still takes fifth. Homer will finish just outside the prize purse, but will take sixth, 9 points ahead of Badger. And then Aaron Starlin finishing every single map once he's finished this one. That is new territory, as we see Badger finishing dashed against the rocks. A valuable lesson learned in how to race a 4-race Omnium. And we got Aaron. We can quickly hear from Aaron. Aaron, how does it feel to finish every single map?
It feels good. I'm still tired because every Monday night I have a soccer game. I get home, try to get 3 hours of sleep, and then come on here and race. But, you know, it feels good just building my endurance up. Hopefully I can make a run for the money later on. But right now I just got to focus on racing myself and finishing these races. So
that sounds clever, Aaron. Now, good luck in the next set of races as well, because this is the one done for you. What will the future bring? You'll just have to click follow right here on the page to find out, as we're going to have the instant replays here of Dash against the rocks. What a roller coaster of emotion. I'm so sad we didn't quite catch Seb's reaction to this crash, because he can't believe it. He just goes to the right here at the end. Oh, we do actually catch the facial reaction as he can't believe it. Then you get the brilliant block by Niels Heldens here as 18 kilometers an hour. You can see Timothy with a cheeky smile. He knows it as well. As then you get another crash for Sebastian Kuhn. The rock on the left there definitely causing some trouble on the penultimate and the final lap as Niels can't believe it. He moves down the rankings, but he secures his spot because Quentin comes through. Then Quentin goes down in the very next corner despite having corner caper on as well. Great finale, great racing all around. Aquavello, Lakeview Corner, Electric Fidget, Dash against the rocks. I can't wait to see how Zones K, L, and T later on today develop, because this was close all the way to the end. In the end, preliminary, before bonus points are applied, Casey Shum wins by 10 points ahead of Timothy. Timothy ahead of Seb by 15 points. Seb ahead of Niels by 12 points. Niels ahead of Quentin by 8 points, as we now catch final bit of the highlights. But Casey, first time Zone E on a Tuesday. Safe to say that was a successful adventure on your behalf. Great racing all around. How was the racing experience on Dashed Against the Rocks?
This was a fun track. It's different. There's always something coming at you. Timothy and I got real gutsy in the last set of corners. I wasn't sure if the corner caper was going to take me around that last corner, so I slowed down, and I think I could have made it and would have made it harder for him to pass me, but I think that basically the same thing Timothy and I did is what wrecked Niels and Quentin. You're with riders and you want to just grab that last little bit, and it is a very clear and solid line, and if you step just a drop over that line, you are done. So it was good racing. Honestly, I don't know how Seb wrecked and stayed in front. I mean, I went pretty hard. Granted, I had went hard the whole Omnium, so maybe that's the difference. But there is no way that I do 20 seconds of wrecking there and still finish, 15 seconds ahead of where I did. So kudos to him. But yeah, it was good fun. Now, next week, everybody's going to come to K because that's going to be the soft zone, right? After we did E this week. So keeping everybody off their game. But no, this was a lot of fun. We'll be back for K at least today. And yeah, it was good, something different. I wasn't sure I was excited about this when the tracks came out, but there was a lot of skill today, but it was about rhythm riding, and it wasn't a lot of, it was some player interaction, but it wasn't just the frustration of being blocked into the blob. About finding a rhythm, knowing the game, doing your homework. So no, it was a lot of fun.
And I agree with the sentiment in the chat. We got Glenn, we got Wim saying great Omnium to watch. Sounds like Casey Shum agrees with you guys as well. Once more, Casey Shum, the preliminary winner of Zone E here. And again, another $30 richer pending official results. Looks like Timothy Tamont comes across in second. Timothy, we heard Casey talk about you and him pushing it to the line here. How was your racing experience across the 4 races today? And are you satisfied taking that second place?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with second place there. glad I woke up for this. It's a nice morning exercise, both mentally and physically, obviously. Yeah, Casey, the third race, he was on another level, and yeah, he got a clear gap there. And just like Casey said, I don't know how Sebastian did it, wrecking twice and still staying on the front. He must know this course so well that even though he wrecked twice, all the other corners he took perfectly and kept the gap. Yeah, kudos to Seb. And like Casey said, again, those last few corners, his corner caper ran out. I had mine. I was so scared to pass. He could easily have blocked me there, and I think I wouldn't be able to pass him then. But yeah, kudos for not blocking there. And the block from Nils, that was all my fault. I was stupid enough to think he wouldn't do it, which obviously I won't do again. But yeah, very happy with this Omnium. Until tonight.
Let's go and hear from Seb, because now we've heard Casey, we've heard Timothy. Seb, what was the secret sauce? Because you didn't only crash once, you crashed twice on Dashed Against the Rocks.
Yeah, I wanted to give the others a little bit of chance. No, I was not pleased with my performance in the first three races at all. So Angry Seb had to show up for something better. And I gave it all. And if you're alone in the front, you can push and push and push without taking care of the other riders. You should take care about the obstacles, but it went well, so I'm happy.
From Angry Seb to Dead Seb to Happy Seb, I mean, somebody needs to make a mug or a t-shirt with the stages of emotions that Sebastian goes through. Seb, thank you for being in the broadcast. Congratulations on third. We've just got the final bits of highlights here, and we'll get the final word from Niels Heldens here down in fourth. Niels, we saw your physical reaction. It looked like you really gave it everything here on Dashed Against the Rocks. You were going neck to neck with Timothy, but that crash, talk to me about the emotion you went through when you occurred that.
I won't exactly paraphrase. I will paraphrase the words. I'm not that happy with it, so a few swear words came out. But that's racing. When you mess up like that, you should. Things like that happen. I came into the corner at the right speed because I had a corner caper on, and then I basically turned in one lane too many, so I crashed into the rocks. And yeah, it was then obviously because it's a pretty quick point. A lot of people were using their corner capers and came on through and just passed me. And then the final bend. So I think the second to last bend, Quinton crashed. I overtook Quinton. I've just been told in the group chat that Quinton would have had third if I didn't pass him. So might need to treat him to some fries one day. But just lots of things to improve upon. But that's what racing is all about, isn't it?
It is. You can always reply saying it is the solo cup, every man for themselves. If you wanted to be up there, Quinton, you had to beat me yourself. But regardless, we get it. Nils, thanks for being on stream. And to everybody else, to Quinton, to Homer, to Badger, to Aaron, thank you so much for being in the stream here today. We'll be back with more racing later today. Zones K, L, and T. So if you enjoyed this and you were here from Channel 1, click the follow button down below, because in 5 hours, we're going to have 2 more hours of racing. We're going to see new faces, you're going to see fresher riders, we're going to see the same set of races, but it'll be raced differently, I guarantee you that. So make sure, click the follow button down below, CVRcade Solo Cup, $30 richer, Casey, $20 richer, Timothy, $15 richer, Sebastian, Nils, and Quinton taking 10 and 5. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We're back in 5 hours. But until then, we'll see you. But no, Beth, your goes crashing down. Termination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.